Monday morning, 9 a.m. Good morning to everybody. I'm Lesley Kaplan. Welcome to our Monday Motivation Spotlight. Every Monday at 9 a.m. Israel time, same place. Whether you're joining us live from Israel or from abroad, welcome, or whether you're watching the recording, we're delighted to have you here with us today. Naturally, it's always good if you can join live, as the majority of you here are doing today, or certainly those that I can see, as it allows you to share your business details with us. It allows you to participate in the chat, Q&A, ask any questions, and most important, it allows you to have instant inspiration from our guests. We have every week a alternating guest. So as I say, I'm Lesley Kaplan. This series is brought to you with thanks, co-hosted by ACI, with a gift from the Roundhouse Foundation. Thank you, or a grant, should I say, and also to our sponsor of the month, J Homes Jerusalem Fine Realty. So as with every week, we have a spotlight guest who gives us inspiration, shares different scenarios with us. Today, I have a special guest joining us, Beverly Chimes, a friend, a colleague. Bev and I met a couple of years ago. I don't even remember how many years ago. We hail from the same country, who, as you'll hear, we have the same accent, and many of you know us both. I am actually embarrassed to say right now with what's going on politically, and this is an apolitical conversation and show where we're from, but we're proud to be Israelis. And when I say we, I'm sure that I can speak on behalf of both myself as well as with Bev. So I'm going to remove my spotlight and put my spotlight on Bev and introduce her. And we look forward to having 25 minutes approximately of inspiration from you, Bev. Positive talk. I'm Israel. Another week of challenges, another week of losses, which is why, as you all know, this program was started in the first place, even though we aim to continue afterwards. Beverly Chimes, or Bev as I call her, is a social worker. She's a seasoned life coach. She has more than 2 decades of experience working with women, working with others in motivating them, helping them meet their goals. Bev, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Please share your wonderful words of wisdom and inspiration with us, as we can all do with it. And I remind you all to share your details in the chat. Share not only your business details, but anything you'd like to share, anything you'd like to say to Bev, something she comments on, or just let us know how you're feeling today. Give us some positive words. All right, Bev, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. The South African accent's a bit of a thing right now, isn't it? But we won't go
Exactly.
into too much.
I mean, I've always felt like and identified that I'm with, more Israeli, or certainly I've been in Israel coming up for my 34th anniversary in
Wow.
just over a week's time. So, I haven't been back in 25 years, but yeah, I guess we can't get rid of our accents.
No, we can't. I'm also here like 28 years, so I'm very happy to be more Israeli than anything else.
Right.
I'm so happy to be here this morning. Thank you for having me. And wow, we're like 3 months into this war, 100 days. Today's 101. Like, whoever thought we would be in this situation? And we're barely starting to process what's gone on. And I don't even know if we're still managing to process what's going on now. So, one of the things that I'm noticing is that there's this rolling wave of guilt, I call it, where I can't express my feelings or I can't be where I'm at because someone's got it worse than me. Whether it's a displaced family, if it's a family who went through the 7th of October in the South, whether it's someone who's lost someone, whether it's a family of hostages, whether it's a parent of a soldier, whether it's the soldiers only in Yehuda and Shomron and or only on a border, and what about the parents of a soldier in Gaza? And there's this constant comparison of like, how are you? Like, I'm okay considering, and I have no right to complain because I don't have it as bad as someone else. So I really want to talk about that this morning because I don't think it brings anything positive to us. I don't think it's helpful, and I don't think it brings anything positive to anyone else. It's like I'm saying I don't have the right to be where I'm at because somebody has it worse than me, and that negates where I'm at and possibly starts shutting me down for being where I'm at. It's just not helpful. I'm wondering if anyone can relate to what I'm saying. So if someone else is struggling more than you are, it is in no way helpful for them for you to deprive yourself or negate your experience. It doesn't bring anything to them. It doesn't help them in any way. It doesn't uplift them. It doesn't contribute to their well-being in any way or shape at all. So can we take this idea and put it aside? Like, you have the permission to be exactly where you're at, and where you're at is exactly where you're meant to be, with no comparisons. So let's look instead at maintaining connection to what's going on and empathy, as well as looking after yourself, doing what's best for yourself, and motivating yourself forward. Let's rather focus on that. Part of this idea of like, I can't if someone else is suffering more than me, is another idea of how dare I when there are people who are not in a great position. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. I was working with a wonderful woman who has a bunch of soldiers in her family in all different places. And last year she got rid of all her overstretched sweaters. And this year she really needs to go and buy sweaters. And she said, how dare I go and buy sweaters when my children are on the borders and here and there and serving everywhere? And I asked her, I said, is there any way you can contact them and ask them if you have permission to go and buy a sweater, or 2 or 3? And of course she laughed because it was ridiculous. Like, of course she can go and buy a sweater even though they're not home. And I'm happy to report she went on a very nice shopping spree and got herself some lovely clothes. So this withholding because someone else doesn't have, it just doesn't make sense. And in fact, it's really not what they're wanting from us. So it feels to me like people who are back at home, not out as soldiers or not displaced, are withholding things from themselves as some sort of empathy. But I think it's a misplaced empathy. If I'm looking at any of the talking to soldiers who are coming home, or if I'm looking at any of the videos from soldiers from the different fronts, their message is very clear, and they have like one unified message. We're one nation. We're going to get through this together. And please, we are fighting for you to live a normal life. We're fighting for you to have safety and security. And we're fighting for you to live a regular, normal life. And in a way, I feel like that's our responsibility, is to be living our lives as best as we can, connected to our nation, going through unbelievable things, and yet showing up and living our lives to the best of our capacity right now. And what does that mean? So that means that if you're having a day or a week or an hour where you're feeling low energy or sad or affected or just like unfocused, so be in that space. And if you're having a moment or an hour or a day where you're feeling really inspired, quite happy, wanting to meet friends, going out to buy stuff or meeting for coffee, or ready to like launch a project at work, so be there. because there's no requirement right now to be holding ourselves back and to be holding ourselves in a dark place because of the war. So permission is here. Permission's here from the soldiers. Permission's here from logic. I feel like we have a responsibility to keep the economy going so that when people do go back to their homes, there's a vibrant economy in the country that's going to only be to our benefit. So if you are feeling inspired to take action, and if you are feeling like you want to get your teeth into a project or something, how wonderful. Like, that's what we need. So don't dampen that enthusiasm because, like, oh, it might not be fitting to the time. It's exactly fitting to the time because that's us. That's us as a people. We have a history and an inherited resilience. And part of that resilience is being able to continue even during the tough times. In fact, especially during the tough times. Another idea is that there's no other you. You are the only you in this world. And you take up a certain space in the world that no one else can fill. It's only your space. So if you abdicate and if you just can't, on an ongoing basis, take action and be in your space, it means that that space in the world is empty. So we need to look at what you can do to look after yourself, to re-engage in a very compassionate, kind, gentle way, re-engage your space that is only meant for you in the world. After 100 days, we're looking at burnout, exhaustion, tiredness, and the burnout needs to be dealt with in a very similar way to the way burnout's always dealt with. And that means bringing short-term solutions to dealing with burnout and bringing long-term solutions to dealing with burnout. The long-term solution is to build a life that feels joyful and inspired. That's our long-term solution to burnout. And that's really our long-term solution in resilience. So if we take that apart, we need to look at what would feel joyful and what would feel inspired. And everyone's answer for that is going to be different. So my challenge to you is write down a heading for yourself, joyful, write down a heading for yourself, inspired, and take the time, perhaps after we meet, to look at 7 to 10 things that you can do that would feel joyful to you, that would literally bring joy into your life and into your world. And then also take the time to look at what makes you feel inspired. When you're involved in what, do you feel more passionate? Do you feel more alive? Do you feel more engaged? What's that thing that, like, yeah, that's it. That's how I feel inspired. And let's see how you can bring that more and more and more into your world. So with that, I'd like to offer you a smorgasbord of different tools and techniques that you can use to acknowledge your emotions, be in your emotions, and also take yourself forward with looking after yourself compassionately and kindly. The first technique I want to talk about is what I call a check-in, where, feel free to do it now, imagine a scanner going over your body, starting at your head and gently moving over your body. And notice what you notice. How does your head feel? How do your muscles feel? How's your neck? Are there any parts in your body that feel tight? Are there any parts in your body that are perhaps calling your attention? Is it a tightness? Is it a pain? Is it a looseness? What exactly is going on in different parts of your body? And just notice. All you're doing now is gathering information. And let the scan go all the way through your body down to your feet. And just notice what you notice. And then do an emotional scan. Where am I right now? What am I feeling? Where's my mood at? If I had 2 or 3 emotions right now and they had a name, what would they be? Where am I at? And just by taking a few minutes to observe, you get a lot of different information. And then from there, you can make some decisions. The next question to ask yourself is, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? Do I need a walk? Do I need a drink of water? Do I need to eat? Do I need a chat? Do I need to jump into work? What do I need right now that's going to make me feel better? That's going to sort of like meet this place of whatever's going on that I've noticed. And then really committing to yourself and saying, I'm going to take that action. Like, I'm going to take that action in the next half hour, and taking that action. And the process that you've done is you've scanned what's going on, you've assessed, you've noticed, you found a small, easy solution to something that you noticed, and you've taken that action in order to give yourself whatever it is that you're needing in this moment. So that's the check-in. And I think it's fabulous, and I really recommend doing it every day. And just it creates an awareness that now I know where I'm at. And now I know what to do for myself. The second thing is, wow, social media is like blasting. WhatsApp statuses are loud. And we're not so discerning about perhaps what we're watching. So imagine the scenario. You're in your house, someone knocks on your door, and you go over to the door. Firstly, you're choosing whether or not to even acknowledge that someone's at the door. Let's say you choose to acknowledge that someone's at the door, and you walk over and you look through the peephole and you ask who's there. And based on the answer, you decide whether or not you're opening the door. And then you decide whether you're talking to the person at the door or whether you're welcoming them into your home. And yet, this little device, we open it up, we click, and we're so not discerning with anything that we're welcoming in. And I know right at the beginning, I unfortunately saw a video that I really didn't think I was clicking on something like that. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. And I became much more discerning. So today, I'm giving you back the keys to your front door. And I'm offering you a solution of just stop and think. Stop and think, what am I letting into my home before I just scroll, before the next reel just pops up, before the next WhatsApp thing rolls? What do I want to let into my environment? If I'm trying to be connected to my people, but looking after myself, then what am I really choosing to let in? So if we're being more discerning, I want to ask everyone to pay attention to the breaks between things. This is the key to wellness. We do something, we work in little chunks. Everyone's chunk is a different size, but there's breaks between the little chunks of work. And those breaks are absolute gold. So see the break and be super, super intentional about what to do with that break. Yes, you could scroll. You could go from news site to news site. You could do that. And I promise you, it is not helping you rejuvenate or chill in any way, shape, or form. So choose carefully how you want to use those little spaces of breaks. That's where you could take a quiet cup of tea or coffee, glass of water if you don't drink either, take a walk around the block, call someone you love, do a few push-ups, anything that would actually help you feel, I looked after myself there for a few minutes. And it'll do so much to stopping the energy drain and refilling yourself. It'll be quite remarkable. These tiny little pockets of time, how much they can influence your day if they're used correctly. It's a breathing technique that I'd love to share with you. It's called 4-7-8 breathing. It was made by Dr. Andrew Weil. Super simple. Breathe in your nose for 4, hold for 7, out your mouth for 8. Let's do it together. Breathe in for 4 through your nose. Hold for 7. Breathe out your mouth for 8. He recommends doing 3 sets. Easy as easy could be. You don't need anything. You just need to breathe. So that's 4-7-8 breathing. If there's a time that you're feeling super overwhelmed, something's going on and you just feel overwhelmed, this is also a lovely technique. Put one hand on your forehead, another hand behind your neck, and just take a few moments for yourself. I enjoy it. It's easy to remember to do. Take a couple minutes. So those are the techniques that I want to share with you today and the ideas that I want to share with you today. And I'd be delighted if anyone's got any questions or any comments. I don't know if anything's come up in the chat so far.
Right, in the chat, people have been sharing what they need today, what their feelings are. And I think
Awesome.
that if I'm going to just remove this for a second, the spotlight, I think that it's great that you've shared a range of different techniques with us, that even if somebody doesn't identify with every single one of them, some people aren't big breathers, for example. I mean, we all breathe, yes, we have to breathe, but some people aren't used to breathing techniques. So what's good is that you've given us, as you said, a smorgasbord of different choices that we can then choose which techniques work best for us. And I'm sure you suggest to people as well, try even one at a time, and then you can sometimes go to the other, right?
Yes. Just play around with it. Keep it super light. It's like not a heavy issue. Like just take one and try it.
Right, absolutely. And the other thing is, and I so can identify, like I'm sure a lot of you, what you said in the beginning, and I see that especially with social media posts, is that we kind of feel guilty because, as you said exactly, because we're in a war situation, especially if somebody from abroad is seeing, oh, they're writing positive, aren't they meant to be in a war? And you're so right, is that if we aren't looking after ourselves, we won't be able to positively affect and influence others, which is going to influence and totally influence the economy, even just by us making a difference to one person. So it's so important not to have that guilt feeling, which we, as especially, and most of we're women in this session today, we have this guilt thing that sometimes we have to get rid of.
Yeah, like I think the permission to feel uplifted and happy one moment and like inspired is kind of lacking in the world right now. And it's here. Like you can feel inspired to take action, and you can feel happy. You can feel satisfied. That's okay. We don't have to maintain this heavy, hard, difficult time. It is a heavy, hard, difficult time. We don't have to be in that frame of mind all the time. It gives nothing to anyone.
Right, absolutely. And I see a couple of you, I was just looking through the chat now, a couple of you, and we know that when we get outside, we walk, we move out of our immediate area and exercise. Do you want to talk for a minute or so just about that? How that can help our mood too?
Absolutely. Two things are there: sunlight and movement. Sunlight and movement. I mean, even on a cloudy day, the movement is absolutely amazing. Just to move our bodies. I don't know exactly when endorphins start getting released, but I know that the minute I go outside and I'm looking at the flowers and watching a bus drive by and I've changed my environment and I'm moving my body, straight away I feel more relaxed, relieved, and more positive. So for sure, some movement every day, whether or not there's any sunshine. I saw a nice thing that said sun before screen. And I wonder how many of us could really take up that challenge of like not checking our phone in the morning, but getting dressed and getting outside.
Right. I know for me, that's particularly difficult not to check my phone in the morning. I think many of us sleep with our phones next to us. So even though I'm usually pretty good at not picking it up in the middle of the night, usually, as I said, but certainly first thing in the morning, that will be a bit difficult for me. Ladies and our gent here, thank you so much for joining us at our Monday Motivation Spotlight. Bev, thank you so much for your words of inspiration, your positive thoughts, your techniques, your ideas that you gave us to think about. Choose even one of these things which identify with you most or which you think you'd like to start with. And even if sometimes it sounds cliche, by trying it and doing it, it really, really does make a difference. I know that I do this on myself. I speak to my clients about it too. In fact, even my grandchild, I was having a talk with her about 10 days ago, and she was feeling a bit down. So a technique which many coaches use and which many of us know, even if you're not a coach, is just write down all the things that you're grateful for, all the good things that have happened in your day. And I'm actually doing a Pinuk with her in 2 days' time. And I told her, when you come to me, I want you to bring a piece of paper and we're going to look at it together. So it doesn't matter what your age, male, female, whatever you are, it's always important to be grateful and to actually have this thought in our minds to what we're grateful for, and that'll help us get through these times too. So thank you again, Bev. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
to our host, ACI, and to our co-sponsor this month, J Homes, Jerusalem Fine Realty. Ladies, if you do watch the recordings on YouTube or Spotify, please like them, and especially please subscribe to my YouTube channel or Spotify. It does give more likes and people see it too. So, and we've got previous recordings, which many of you have come live and joined live, which has been great. And feel free to catch up and see. Next week, our guest is Nachama, also known as Nicole Levy, who is formerly from Jerusalem, now living in Netanya. She has a amotah or nonprofit called Alinu, where she works with Olim. So she will be our guest on next week's show. So have a great day. Have a safe day. I'm Yisrael Chai. Thank you again, Bev. And may we only share and know positive things. Thank you for joining. Look forward to seeing you next week.